For the past few months, the Kindle have been my main device for reading, mainly because of these. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So if you were wondering for a long time whether you should get a Kindle Paperwhite or not, and if you're an avid reader like me, let me tell you, this video is going to tell you exactly why you need to buy a Kindle Paperwhite for yourself. In this video, I will discuss why I prefer my Kindle Paperwhite over a hardback or any physical book for that matter. For the past few months, the Kindle have been my main device for reading, particularly for these reasons. It is portable, it is affordable, it's durable, and it has this built-in dictionary function. You can basically bring it anywhere and it virtually takes up no space. A lot of people are appalled by the idea of having this, and this. I mean, it's cool, but if you're like me and you have to travel between one island to the other every 3 months or so, if coronavirus is in discussion, the idea of having about 1,000 books with you everywhere is just incredible. Having bookshelves upon bookshelves of books that are eventually gonna be harboring dust and be infested with mites and bugs isn't just something ideal to me. Most of the time, I don't even reread my books, except for some that I read about 7 years ago and I just want to feel nostalgic about it, and then I will read those books. But we're talking about a long span of time here. I don't think it's logical for me to have a bookshelf of physical books if I'm not ever gonna reread them again. So if you like the idea of portability of thousands upon thousands of books with you, the Kindle is the right device for you. Unlike most readers out there, I consider myself to be a bit of a slow reader, but even with my lower than average speed, I consider myself to have read a lot of books per year. So those books that I read are often in a range of 70 ringgit to 90 ringgit. Sometimes they can even be up to 100 something. But when you accumulate all of these costs together, reading solely with my Kindle Paperwhite have helped me save around 960 ringgits to 1,440 ringgits per year. If you read a lot every year, and if you're an avid reader and if you read often, having a Kindle is gonna save you a tons in the long run. Books from the Amazon Kindle store are considerably much more cheaper than a lot of physical. And if you have the Kindle Unlimited subscription, you can actually read literally infinite amount of books as long as you are in the subscription list, but I'm not familiar with that. But even if you don't have Kindle Unlimited, there's tons of ebooks out there on the internet that you can buy for really cheap. They are not even half of the price of physical books. They are even less than that. Point number 3, durability. You know, Kindle have this reputation of being this really hardcore, robust device that are not going to get damaged in a few years down. I myself got my Kindle as a second-hand one. I bought them off of Carousel, and I've been using them for months and they still work great. If you want to save yourself some bucks and you don't want to spend so much on a device, you can actually consider buying them off of Carousel or any online store that sells second-hand or used Kindle. With that being said, Kindle can be used for a long time and you don't have extra care while you're reading with your Kindle, not unlike reading with a physical book. I'm speaking for myself and I know a lot of you out there can relate to this. I hate it when my books are creased or when I broke the spine of freshly bought physical copies of books. Physical books can be quite fragile. If you're not careful enough, you might be leaving a broken spine, like I said previously. And in the case of paperbacks, sometimes when you put it in your backpack, at the end of the day, when you take it out, it's creased. It's not pretty as when you first bought it anymore. So on top of that, physical books can be quite yellowish over the period of time. I know mine have. I don't collect a lot of physical books, but several of my books have been a victim of the yellowing pages, which is not pleasant at all. You will not have any of these problems with the Kindle Ereader. The fourth reason why I love using my Kindle Paperwhite so much is the built-in dictionary function. I cannot stress enough how much this particular function of the Kindle have helped me, not just in boosting my vocabulary span, not just in terms of understanding the context better than I would with a physical copy, where you cannot simply acquire the definitions of the words other than having to reach out for a dictionary. Also, with the help of certain websites like Readwise.io, I know a lot of YouTubers have been talking about this website, you can actually review the highlighted phrases. If you were to highlight an unfamiliar vocabulary on your physical books, it takes another immense effort just to get all of your highlights back, which you will not have, and you will not have this issue with your Kindle, because all of your highlights are synchronized to your Amazon account. Websites like Readwise.io will also regularly email you words that you have highlighted in the past over a regular interval, and in my opinion, that's just a great way to learn new vocabs, spaced repetitions. And to be honest, over the span that I've used of Kindle, I find that my range of vocabulary have also expanded. It helps me a lot as a college student when it comes to writing papers, writing essays, and just English usage in general. Next up, I'm going to talk about the accessibility of a Kindle device. Due to how easy it is to navigate to a book with a device, I find myself reaching out to my readings more often than I would than with a physical book. Fun fact, ever since I've got my Kindle, I no longer spend as much time as I would with social media anymore. Back in the days where I am not as occupied as I am now with a Kindle, I don't think it will ever be possible for me to go through a day without internet access. But now that I have a Kindle and hundreds of books waiting for me to devour, I find myself going through weekends without switching on my phone for a whole day. Premise my previous self wouldn't even think is possible. And because of the accessibility of Kindle and how easy it is to buy books, you don't even have to think about, do I need this book? Do I have to buy this book? You don't have to think about those things anymore, because first of all, the digital copies of books online are really cheap compared to the price of an actual physical book. Back in the days when I don't have a Kindle, I would contemplate with myself, do I need this book? Whether the price is worth it, whether the hype is worth it, I would always consider all of these factors together. Now that Kindle is my main reading device, the only factor that I have to weigh in is the time that I can accommodate to myself when it comes to reading. Last but not least, my final point of why you should have a Kindle is because you can read anywhere. With a physical book, you cannot read in the dark unless you have an external light, or with a digital reading device like an iPad or a laptop, you cannot read under the sunlight. But with a Kindle, you can read even in the dark, you can read under the sunlight thanks to its e-ink technology and also its built-in lamp. With all of these features added in, you can read to bed without disrupting the whole dark atmosphere in your room. It helps you to sleep better, and when you want to spend some time outdoors, you can literally just whip out your Kindle and read as you go. Thanks so much for watching my video. If you want to watch more bookish content from my video, as I will be uploading regularly, whether it is Kindle or not Kindle related, don't forget to subscribe.